Welcome to the Fight Night Daily podcast yet again. It feels like Groundhog Day, and yet the actors are the same, the setting's the same, but the nuances are slightly different. It's weigh-in day today. We have Bivol and Beterbiev chatting to Thomas Treiber behind us on the stage bench. So they both made weight. Anything to add about this tremendous light heavyweight fight tomorrow night?
Well, like you said, it feels like Groundhog Day. We've been here now for a week. We've been coming to this same place, but did you not feel the temperature rise a little bit today? You know, the atmosphere really lifted. Look at the crowd that turned out for this fight. They appreciate that this is the #1 fight in the world today, and I think that we see that on this turnout. Looking at both guys on the scales, Gareth, they know what they're going into. The respect was there from both of them.
We both have gone back and forth. I think you've gone for Beterbiev late stoppage. I've gone for Bivol points, but I could so easily go with you as well. Bivol's got a big crowd and you can hear them behind us. It's been an amazing week. It's been, as Eddie Hearn is saying behind us, generational fight. Great fight. Thanks to His Excellency Turkey Al-Sheikh. By the way, we're on DAZN tomorrow night on a watch along. We will be for very big events now, so you can watch us and listen to us with the vision of the fights on DAZN tomorrow night, because we are the champions, my friends. We are the champions, my friends. Okay, Conor Wallace, who's Irish but defected to Australia. Yep, look at him. Shouldn't have said that. Gave me a bit of a stare down. Conor Wallace, tell us why you are here and whose camp you work in.
Yeah, I'm here to soak it all up. You know, there's nothing like being here on Fight Week. You know, the biggest fight, and obviously it's in my weight division as well. So looking forward. I'm so close to call. Like, 1 minute I'm picking Bivol, 1 minute I'm picking Beterbiev. I cannot wait to see the fight tomorrow night.
I mean, kind of tell us, like Jai Alpataya, obviously you're here supporting Jai. He's going in against Jack Massey, but we were having that conversation earlier on, and there is a possibility that there could be a route in for you actually after this IBF title fight if the mandatory gets called and Jai decides to go elsewhere or do something else and relinquish that title. That opens the gate for you, right?
Yeah, 100%. You know, that's why we're here as well. There's a massive opportunity, and I'm perfectly placed. You know, #2 in the IBF after my last World Title Eliminator just a couple of weeks ago. So I'm ready. This is where I want to be. You know, I've dedicated my whole life to this sport, and I'm looking forward to getting here on the big stage.
Do you know who you'd be fighting then if he vacates?
Yeah, it's a German guy. He's #1. It's Michael Effort. So it'll be 1 versus 2 if that's the case. You know, so I'm ready. You know, I love fighting. I'm like the Irish, and I cannot wait to get in there.
That's the key word. 2 words. I'm ready.
Absolutely.
Be ready in this sport. Opportunities come suddenly, don't they?
100%. I'm not out here for a holiday either. You know, I've still been training every day. I'll be ready when I get the call.
Do you spar with Jai as well?
We haven't actually sparred. We've been at different parts of the camp, in and out, and he was obviously fighting Bradis the last time, and then always fighting Orthodox. I'm a southpaw, and we just haven't, but we definitely will get some rounds in the near future.
Hey, Conor, listen, we've been coming here for a number of years now. The atmosphere building all the time. This, to me, is the most atmospheric atmosphere that I've been in Saudi, actually, in Riyadh. Today, the weigh-in tells you that. Look at the turnout. Surely you want a piece of that.
Sure. Even the grand arrivals, the press conference,
everything.
The whole lot, even watching Jay train and bouncing off one foot onto another, getting itchy knuckles, you know. This is what it's all about. I've been boxing for 20 years, and this is where I want to be on the big stage.
Be ready, stay ready. Best of luck with that coming through for you. We're going to let you go. I bet you're off to training, aren't you?
Nah, I've done a bit earlier on. That'll do me for today.
I'll see you down the shisha lounge.
Hey, listen, he's got his eye on that bit of bling, mate. The IBF title. Watch this space, Conor.
We're coming.
Brilliant. Come on, mate.
Thank you, Conor.
Cheers.
Well done, mate. Well done, mate. Well done.
Right. We're going to get 1 or 2 more guests tonight, but I went to interview Conor Benn today.
Yes. Talk
And
to me
he
about
ran
that.
into Chris Eubank in the hotel earlier. He was even talking about it up here just now.
Yeah.
That schmuck ran into me when I was cutting weight. Conor Benn really wants the Chris Eubank fight. I know a lot's water's passed under the bridge over the last 2 years around this issue, but Does the young man deserve his chance to come back now, Spencer?
Yeah,
You've been a big critic.
Absolutely. Listen, I have been a big critic because you know my thoughts on, people taking performance-enhancing drugs. And I said to Conor, he failed 2 tests. It was down to him to prove his innocence. I don't know where that went. I thought it was all handled wrongly. But we're at this position now, and where we're at now. Where is he at right now? Can he box? Can he not box? Is he on a silent ban? Because no one seems to know.
They will. I'm sure they'll sit down and go through it. There is 2 years to the day, 2 days ago.
Yeah, but where's he at now?
Well, what I found, he's in a great place.
No, but I mean, like, with this
situation. I'm just about to explain it.
Okay.
So, obviously, they're looking to make the Eubank fight. That is being talked about and discussed in the background. They are looking to make it sometime next year. Obviously, they'll have to sit in front of the boards, do their cases, and I imagine he's going to get a retrospective 2-year ban.
Yeah.
2 days ago, or 3 days ago now, it was 2 years since we were due to watch them fight each other in London. Dan Morley's going to join us, but I think he's going to have that fight. Dan Morley going to join us shortly. But I do think that Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. is going to happen at middleweight. That's what. Watch it on the YouTube channel. Yes, Dan Morley, come on in with us. Right, here's a man who knows a bit of history. Great to see you out here. Light heavyweights, Bivol and Beterbiev. Yeah. Before we get your pick, talk to us, because you know these things like a savant. Talk to us about the history of the light heavyweight division, some of the greats. You'll talk to me about names I know from the past as well, and where this leads to tomorrow.
Yeah, well, I mean, these two are definitely amongst the great light heavyweights. Whoever wins will have that standout win to put them right at the very top. The light heavyweight division is one of the best divisions in boxing. A lot of the great fighters have seemingly passed through it, gone from middleweight to heavyweight or light heavyweight up to heavyweight, but there have been a few that have cemented themselves as all-time greats. A lot of underrated and forgotten fighters in the light heavyweight division through history.
I mean, you look at...
Tell us about them. Go on.
No, I was going to mention, you can explain about them, but you look at the 2 undisputed world light heavyweight champions. We've had Bob Foster and Roy Jones Jr. Yeah. Roy Jones Jr. was the last undisputed champion, 3-belt era, 1999 to 2002. Now, I sound like I'm doing your job now, so I'm doing a little bit of history here. You give me the rest of that.
How far back do you want to go?
No, we can go anywhere. We can go anywhere. Mike Spinks as well. I'm pretty certain Mike Spinks won them all. I might be wrong, but Mike Spinks, he was a brilliant light heavyweight. He was undefeated at light heavyweight, and then went up and beat Larry Holmes for the lineal title. Mate, there are loads. I'm a bit of a boxing nerd.
No, that's why we want to talk about that, because this is one of the most special fights in history. Yeah. It really is. Bivol wins. We had a chat yesterday. Potentially could go to #1 pound for pound.
Oh, I think whoever wins can go to #1 pound for pound. I mean, the pound for pound rankings right now are stacked. You've got Crawford, you've got Usyk, and you've got Inoue, who I rate as the very top. Canelo, Bam Rodriguez is brilliant in the lower weights, but this is a pound for pound fight, and both of these guys have beaten a lot of top light heavyweights. So whoever wins this fight, and especially if they win it in style.
You're very good on silhouettes and how they dance together. How do you see this fight, Dan Morley?
I change my mind every 5 minutes. I've said, I think everyone's probably
We've all done that.
Yeah, I said...
He thinks Beterbiev late at the moment, and I think Bivol points. That's where we are at the moment.
Team Spence. I'm with Beterbiev. I thought initially Bivol. I thought especially with the way he handled Canelo and Zurdo Ramirez, who was bigger. I think he's stronger than people give him credit for. His boxing ability is unbelievable in the way he gets in and out of range. But Beterbiev, man, he's not just a brute force puncher. He beat Kovalev in the amateurs, he beat Usyk in the amateurs. Yeah. I think he's lost 5 amateur fights out of 300. I had 25, I lost more than that. So
and I'll tell you, that if you go back, I watched it recently, Beterbiev's fight with Usyk at the London Olympic Games, what did he target? Yeah. The body.
Absolutely. He had him down, he floored him to the body as well.
He dropped him to the body. I think Usyk won the fight, dropped him to the body. But he's unbelievable, and the way he keeps you under pressure, his jab, he loops the shots, he's strong up close. I just think,
dangerous when hurt.
But Danny's not just a monster, is he? There's boxing IQ there. There's like, do you know what I mean? Like, people don't recognise, because he's such a heavy-handed, all-out fighter, very, very persistent, relentless. They don't know that actually he can control the distance. He breaks it. He knows when to take that opportunity. There's much more to his game than just strength and firepower.
Oh yeah, everyone goes on about how he gets you on the ropes and how he pushes you back. when he got Callum Smith out of there, Callum Smith was walking into me and walked onto a right hand that he led him onto. Anthony Yard done the same, so he's good on the back foot as well. And I just think Bivol has to be perfect. I think he can be perfect, he can definitely win it, but I just can't see him not getting caught up by Beterbiev over 12 rounds.
Do you not see the potential for these two that they might have to go beyond 12 rounds and into 24?
Not tomorrow, but
no, not tomorrow.
Well, yeah, potentially. But I mean, listen, this is the best fight in boxing. If it's a great fight and it's tight, 100% you want to see it again.
Hold it, both of you, there for a minute, because you earlier caught up with Frank Warren. He had this to tell us.
Well, it's weigh-in day here in Riyadh. Artur Beterbiev versus Dmitry Bivol, and I'm joined by Frank Warren. Frank, so much for joining us. What a great event.
It is. I mean, this is one of the real marquee fights of the 21st century. It's the first time, I believe, this century there's been a unification fight for the light heavyweight division, and 4 belts are on the line between 2 undefeated fighters who've got impeccable records, and they've beaten a few Brits on the way as well between them.
I mean, we go back to 1999, I think it was, the last light heavyweight undisputed world champion. That was the 3-belt era. This is the first of the 4-belt era, and that was Roy Jones Jr., who held that to 2002, I believe. So that's how often it comes around. But we have got it, and this fight is probably the best fight that you're going to get in boxing right now.
It's a great fight, and it's a fabulous... What is going on? It's a fabulous fight, you know, really good fight, and you know, for me, it's. I mean, there's you know, of no interest in either of the fighters as such, you know, as far as having promoted them in the past, although the fights are contracted by Queensberry, but it is just a great fight. It is a great fight. I mean, these fellas are 2 consummate professionals, the best in the business, and I think we're going to see, I really do think we're going to see something special.
Look, stylistically, we've got the monster in Beterbiev and the boxing purist in Dmitry Bivol. We've all got an opinion, but none of us really know how this one's going to go. That's when you know you've got a great fight.
Well, it's right. You know, obviously a lot of people look at, you know, with Beterbiev, he's got the perfect record, 20 fights, 20 knockouts. But if it was all about who punches the hardest, we wouldn't need judges.
Yeah.
And Bivol's a very good boxer, and he can punch himself. It's not like he hasn't got any stoppages on his record. So, and I think he's one of those fighters that rises to the occasion. But whatever way you want to look at it, this is something special.
What did you make yesterday, actually, of the press conference when Beterbiev, we don't really see that much of him doing that, but we saw a little bit of emotion there, and he actually went in on Eddie, and yeah, got a little bit heated there. What did you make of that?
It's all good. You know, I think it's great. You know,
he showed character, right?
Yeah, but you know, not everybody is a Tyson. Not everybody's a Nassim Hamid. You know, there are guys who, you know, are quite intrigued. Daniel Dubois, for example. You know, it's very difficult to get him to do things. Also, you go back to the first version of George Foreman. Lots of them are like. Lots of fighters have been like that. But you know, don't worry about who talks the most, who says the most. I know it paints the picture, it gets everybody at it leading up to the fight. It's what happens in the ring. And what's happening in the ring on Saturday is going to be something extraordinary, no doubt about it.
Frank, I want to talk about the changing of the times, promoters working together. What's it like working with Eddie Hearn, Ben Shalom, all on the same card? It's, you know, changing of the times.
It's good working together. I mean, you know, there's no doubt about it. You know, Eddie's been great with working with. The problem with Ben, we're still waiting for contracts to be signed by fighters. He's a pain in the arse, to be quite honest.
Brilliant. Listen, I want to bring something up as well today. We had Conor Benn on talkSPORT earlier on. He was interviewed by talkSPORT, and he's talking about this possible fight with Chris Eubank Jr. if he comes through against it, Sarameta on Saturday night, actually. But he's flown over here now. What do you make of that?
Look, it's a fight that's being talked about for what now? Nearly 3 years?
Yeah.
2.5, 3 years, whatever it is. He's got this hearing coming up, and or they were about to have the hearing, and that'll determine where he goes as far as his license is concerned. Once he gets his license back, then if the fight's going to be made, it'll be made. That's all down to UCAD at the end of the day. They've got to make their determination as to whether, you know, whether they're going to be a ban or not, or he's guilty or not guilty. I
mean, look, we still see a very long way off and a lot of uncertainties surrounding Conor Benn and that fight happening. But sticking with Chris Eubank Jr., Hamza Shiraz, I mean, it's a fight now that's been brewing a lot. Chris starts off by going, Hamza who? I don't know this kid. Well, actually, he does know him, and he knows him well because Hamza's been performing
You know him
recently.
if he gets in the ring with him, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
When he knocks him spark out, that's for sure.
Is that a fight you want next, Frank?
I love it.
Yeah.
We tried to make it, and you know this thing with Eubank a few weeks ago, which is now in the hands of lawyers and be determined by the lawyers. He made an apology and so forth, and I apologise. And I want to make it very clear because Ben Shalom, as usual, was telling porky pies about what I apologise for. What I apologised for to him was because he said things I said, which I did say. I said that there's two ways to get out of a fight. One, you don't want it, and two, you price yourself out. And that's why you don't fancy fighting Hamza Shiraz. And he said to me, in front of his connections, he said, I have never been offered the purse you're talking about.
Right.
So I looked at him, I said, what do you mean? You know, it was offered to your people.
And he says he's never seen it.
He said he'd never been made that. So I don't know why they didn't make that offer to him. So I said, well, if I believe you, what you're saying, that you was unaware of it, then I've got to take that back. I said, but you need to talk to them because they were definitely given that offer.
Well, surely that offer can now be put back on the table.
Oh, we'll see about that. We'll see about that now. You know, I mean, Hamza's on and fight. Hamza's doing what he's doing, what he's not done.
The improvements have been insane, by the way, with Hamza.
His next fight will be for the world title.
Yeah,
that's
sure.
what's going to happen to him. He's doing it. That's where he's at. He wants to challenge himself and fight the best. You know, at the moment, I don't think Chris Eubank is the best fighter in the south of England in his weight division. I think Denzel Bentley. There's another fight to be made with him.
I mean, we've got a fantastic card here, Frank. You know, that top of the bill, it speaks for itself. But the undercard as well, you know, Fraser Clark, Fabio Wardley, the return. But you've got some great fights on there. What's your pick of the undercard, Frank?
I like the heavyweight fight, obviously. Fabio's signed with us now, and that's a great fight. I think the first round will be the 13th round of the last fight.
Yeah, I agree.
And it'll be see who's learnt the most from the first fight. But you know, I thought Fabio won the fight. I'm not, you know, moaning about the last decision. None of my business back then. But I think Fabio has.
We get much of the same.
I think you will. It's going to be a very competitive fight, and I think the fact is that, you know, Fabio's done it. They've both done it the hard way, but Fabio's done it the real hard way, not having the amateur experience. You know, being a white collar fighter, but he's done everything that's asked of him. He fought on the first card out here and beat David Adelaide. You know, it's a
great fight,
cracking punch. You know, big knockout. So. It's an interesting fight. I love it.
Well, listen, I know that you're wanted, and I can't let you go without asking you about your old mate Simon Jordan. I'm hearing stuff about his old football club, Crystal Palace. Fill us in on that, Frank. What's going on?
Nothing. I mean, you know, he's like us. He's one of us, really, and you know, and I love him dearly. You know, his team, Crystal Palace, was sponsored by a Middle East business for 10 years back in 2004. I think it was 2004 for 10 years.
Brilliant. Well,
welcome to the club.
Well, great stuff there from Frank, man. And by the way, before Dan Morley left, he was telling us off air that Ezard Charles, of course, one of the great light heavyweights. Fascinating interview for you there with Frank Warren, saying that Ben Shalom was an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, we're just
and
saying
that they had offered Hamza Shiraz, Chris Eubank, and what's happening now? Yeah,
well, listen, he said, listen, the offer's back on that table. You know, he thinks that fight still can happen. Chris Eubank Jr. comes through against Aramita, and then that fight does happen. So let's see, because we know what the situation is with Chris Eubank Jr. Conor Benn's turned up today as well, you know, and there's been all that.
About him earlier,
yeah, exactly. There's been all that situation going on around Conor Benn. So who knows what Chris's move is next, but what we do know, Gareth, is there's lots on the table.
There is lots on the table, and also there's talks, by the way, in the background for Hamza Shiraz and Carlos Adames and Yanibek Alimkhanuly for a world title fight. So there's so much going on there. Look, we're going to start to wrap here. Fraser Clark and Fabio Wardley. That nose of Fabio Wardley worries me a little bit.
I'm so glad you said that, because it looks like it's very, very raw. You know, that's definitely going to open up.
Very nasal.
Yeah, definitely going to open up. That is. I think that, look, personally, I think Fraser will make those slight adjustments, and that will be enough to maybe see him over the line. But that nose is going to be a big problem, by the way.
And as we get closer with Raven Chapman and Sky Nicholson, I've got a lot of belief in Raven Chapman and the way she's looked all week, and the confidence of her team and the way she is around the place. She's making me feel she can get through that guard of Sky Nicholson and get to her.
She's oozing confidence, and her persona all week has been incredible. You know, she's talked the talk. She said she's going to walk the walk. As we know, Sky Nicholson, beautiful southpaw boxer, likes to control that space. But Raven Chapman, you know, the Omen, by the way, you know, she's one of those fighters that she likes to just pressure. Great fight.
Right, we're going to get Dave Coldwell in for one last pick in the last couple. Come around the side here. Who'd have won out of you two in your prime, by the way?
He was far better than me. You don't know me.
Well,
he won't win now.
No, there we go. Right,
then.
listen, we've got 3 minutes before we have to end here.
I'm still in good shape, you know.
Good shape as well.
Right, very quick picks from you, because you really know your stuff. You're brilliant at breaking down fights. Raven Chapman and Sky Nicholson.
Oh, that's a good
We were
one.
talking about the confidence of Raven this week.
Yeah, and there's a possible. I'm not saying there is, but there's a possible overconfidence on Sky's part. Possible. I'm not saying there is.
She's got to get through the shell, Raven, hasn't she?
Yeah, and Sky, if it's a big ring as well, Sky is a very good mover, but Raven's very confident. She's very good. She can punch. She's strong. That's where there could be a shocker of the night. I'm not saying there is, but that's where there could be a shock of the night.
Fabio Wardley and Fraser Clark.
What a brilliant
Dave,
fight
how does that
first one
nose
was.
look though, mate? That looks very raw to me.
Huh?
The nose still looks very
was
raw.
saying that when I-
That
it's
will
not on the
open.
screen, because
That
that'll
will
open.
open one shot. That will open.
100%
That does
open.
concern me.
But he's a fighter. It's a nosebleed. He's not going to be bothered. It's what it is. What it is. It's not running to his eyes. So it's when it goes in his mouth. That's where the
Who are you
struggle.
picking?
I'm going because I felt the jab was key with Fraser's successes in the first one, and then he stopped. He kind of abandoned it.
He got drawn in, didn't he? He got drawn in.
Experience, getting tired. If he sticks with the jab, I think Fraser can get that win there. But in Fabio, he's unorthodox. He throws shots from it. It could cash him.
Dog in him.
Clean, and it could all be over. So
We've got to wrap very soon because they're going to get us out of here. The final one is Beterbiev versus Bivol. I'm sure you've been back and forth because you know your stuff.
Right now, because of the adjustments, the hand position adjustments that he made in the Callum Smith fight,
I'm with you, mate.
I feel as though Beterbiev. Pre-Callum Smith, I thought Bivol, but he's closed the gaps up. Also, it depends on if the knee injury has had an effect on his legs, because he's not got fast feet, but he's got very good feet. He knows where to place them, and he knows how to suffocate you. And I think he's just going to suffocate him. And I kind of think it's going to be a bit like Leonard against Hearns, the first one, where Hearns was mastering it for the first 6 rounds, and I can see Bivol mastering it for the first 6 rounds or so, but the suffocation, the punching on the shoulders, the ribs that are just being knocked around has an effect.
Exactly the opposite of Teddy Atlas, who says that he doesn't think that Beterbiev will evaporate the water and there'll be nothing left. I know you're with him. We're going to say goodnight and we'll see you tomorrow. Let's see you on the broadcast tomorrow. Remember, thank you, David Coldwell, you little legend, you. Go and enjoy. We'll see you down the shisha lounges later on. Is your daughter playing the tunes here or not? Don't forget, we are live tomorrow night. Yes, we're watch along on talkSPORT YouTube channels, but we're on DAZN tomorrow night. Buy the pay-per-view. It's an amazing card. Thanks to my trusty stalwart mate here.
Mate.
It's been an amazing week.
It's been a great week.
We cannot wait for tomorrow night. Thrills and spills. Come with us. 7 p.m. it starts here. That's 5 p.m. in the UK. Come with us on this journey. Out.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.